This surveillance video, where they pop out with guns from a sunroof and window, shows one of the street shootings included in the case. The DA says charges include murder, attempted murder, weapons possession, and other crimes. In total, Gonzalez says there was 1 murder, 4 attempted murders, and 12 non-fatal shootings.
What we allege and what we learned during the course of this investigation is that Sheff G used a lot of the money that he earned to help facilitate further gang activity. He encouraged gang members to participate in violent crimes.
Most niggas just go through shit like that and it's just, they go living a whole nother life, you know? Still the same.
In the heart of Brooklyn, a new sound was born, emerging from the shadows where an enigmatic figure once roamed. Haunting his rivals with a sense of dread, he came to be known as Sleepy Hollow, a name that struck fear into the hearts of those who crossed his path. Sleepy Hollow was a relentless force, a true savage who, even in the face of danger, dared his adversaries to strike again. His journey took him from the unforgiving streets of Brooklyn, where the heat of the moment ruled, to the world of music, where fame and fortune beckoned. But as Sleepy Hollow rose in the music industry, it seemed that his tumultuous past was never too far behind. Industry fame, it turns out, might not be enough to quell the storm of his turbulent ways. Rooted in the unforgiving trenches of his life, this documentary takes a deep dive into the extraordinary life of Sleepy Hollow, the Brooklyn nightmare whose pursuit of success may have come at the cost of his freedom. Join us as we unravel the enigma that is Sleepy Hollow, a name that still resonates through the streets of Brooklyn. Born in the Caribbean on the island of Jamaica, a young Tegan Joshua Anthony Chambers, who would later become known as Sleepy Hollow, embarked on a journey to the United States with his family in search of a brighter future. They settled in Flatbush, an area known for its Caribbean cultural influences. Sleepy Hollow initially harbored dreams of becoming a basketball star, but his academic performance didn't meet the requirements for him to pursue that path.
I used to want to be a basketball player. It didn't work out because, like, you gotta have good grades. Like, I couldn't match up. I only really played on the team in middle school, so I got to high school, it was over. Cat.
Basketball faded into the background, and another passion began to take hold: hip-hop. At the tender age of 11, he started delving into various music genres, and it became clear that he was destined to be a rapper.
Since I was like 11, 12, I wanted to be a rapper. Like, I used to just listen to mad different types of music. I hear the beat, I'd be like, all right, he said this much words in this amount of time. So to make it fit all right there, I gotta say the same amount of words as he said. And it's gonna fit in the beat, and it gotta make sense.
While still a young and budding artist, Sleepy Hollow displayed a remarkable talent for dissecting lyrics and honing his craft. His journey, however, was far from straightforward. The Flatbush neighborhood molded him, and when he joined forces with another ambitious young talent, their partnership proved unstoppable. The road to success was winding, filled with unexpected twists, but Sleepy Hollow's determination and resilience would ultimately guide him toward the path he had always dreamed of.
All the things like I wanted when I was young, I always had like a big vision. More wealth, more platinum records, more gold records, like everything. Like, I sound mad cliche, but you dead ass trying to do it all. It's because we've been through the same things, same exact things before we met each other, when we met each other, so it's everything is organic.
That's what's up.
Relate OD, for me, but that's like, it's all of our brothers. We relate, that's what keeps us, all of us. Half my brothers don't rap, you feel me? I call them my brothers. Same story. Yeah.
Alright. How did you guys meet?
Some of my songs, I don't speak for myself, I speak for them too.
The individual Sleepy Hollow connected with was none other than Sheff G, but their brotherly bond didn't have the smoothest beginning. In those early days, Sheff G had a reputation for confrontations with students from other schools. It seemed like trouble was brewing when he set his sights on Sleepy Hollow, making him the next target for a possible altercation. However, Sleepy Hollow didn't back down when Sheff G and a crew of about 50 others tried to intimidate him. This unexpected show of resolve made Sheff G realize that Sleepy was cut from the same cloth, sharing a similar no-nonsense attitude.
And what's that, like the nine? What's that? Is that the nine or that? Like East Flatbush, you feel me? But we wasn't cool. We was like fake. Like we didn't fuck with each other. Like,
For real?
like as we was young, like we was kids, and then his name and my name would always come up as like the two niggas that's supposed to fight.
We gotta fight.
From that point onward, their friendship deepened and they became inseparable. Together, they ushered in a new era for the younger generation in their neighborhood, leaving an indelible mark on the trenches they called home. Over time, both Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G witnessed friends and family members facing incarceration or worse. That is why they decided to give music a chance too. This choice would go on to reshape the sound of New York City hip-hop in a significant way. But their road was not without a fair share of mistakes coming from both Sheff and Sleepy. What made Sleepy and Sheff's friendship special was that everything they did together seemed effortless. This chemistry extended to their music as well. They began working on songs together, finding a natural flow in their collaboration. Sleepy Hollow adopted his childhood nickname, Sleepy, and added Hollow to it, not drawing inspiration from Ichabod Crane's tale, but simply because it felt right. Together, they launched their rap careers with a series of singles that showcased their formidable partnership. Tracks like Disrespect and Haters Hurting dropped in 2017, propelling Sleepy Hollow into Brooklyn's emerging drill scene. Their early collaborations even redefined the popular British drill beats, infusing them with a distinctive Big Apple flavor. In October 2019, Sleepy Hollow made his solo debut with the mixtape Don't Sleep, a departure from his drill-inspired roots into a more trap-influenced territory. His subsequent releases, including the mixtape Sleepy for President and his debut EP The Black House, demonstrated his versatility by exploring various styles of hip-hop. This experimentation eventually led to the creation of his viral hit Deep End Freestyle.
My body different. Shorty said she tryna kick it. I'm in the mouth, son, like a dentist.
With more attention on his name than ever before, RCA Records signed Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G to a partnership deal, giving birth to Winner's Circle Entertainment. The name was inspired by a horse race they once saw on ESPN. Winner's Circle also includes fellow artist Eli Frost, producer Great John, and managers Jeremy Sato and Carol George. Sleepy Hollow didn't waste any time and got to work on his debut studio album, Still Sleep, which was released in 2021. The album performed well, cracking the top 40 of the Billboard 200 chart. With a major label behind him, Sleepy Hollow sees no limits to his potential. He plans to continue signing new artists to Winner's Circle while nurturing the talents already on board and further refining his own musical skills. What started as a drill revolution has evolved into something unique. As Sleepy's manager, Jeremy, aptly put it, Sheff and Sleepy and Eli, they flirted with new sounds outside of drill. They're creating their own sound. These two individuals were a force to be reckoned with, and nothing seemed to stand in their way. Sleepy and Sheff found themselves sinking deeper into the gritty world of the streets, inching closer to becoming true street-savvy individuals. By the tender age of 15, Sleepy had already started experiencing the legal consequences of his actions, having been apprehended for a minor marijuana-related incident.
Isn't it crazy getting arrested for weed and now it's everywhere? That's some bullshit, huh?
Yeah, how you feel about that?
That's a fact. That's a fact. 'Cause I done been locked up for weed mad times.
Mad times,
bro.
right?
Like,
Getting arrested.
y'all got it easy now.
Bad eyes, bro.
Despite a few weeks in juvenile detention, it appeared that Sleepy Hollow's rebellious nature only intensified. He delved further into the underworld, affiliating himself with the Crips, a group he would later shout out in his songs. Sheff G did exactly the same. Whether they were in the recording studio or out on the streets, Sleepy Hollow often had a few Crips by his side, adding to their formidable crew. Throughout this time, Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G continued to exert influence on the streets. The 8 Trey Crips are widely regarded as the largest and most formidable faction within this group. Their primary territory is known as Caton 83, situated in East Flatbush. Remarkably, this expansive territory includes the ICG Castle, situated right in its midst, adding a layer of complexity to the situation. Additionally, you have the 40s and the flossy 80s, and when you combine all these 8 Trey sections together, it forms a formidable force. According to law enforcement, these sections are all under the leadership of a highly significant figure in this context, Sheff G. Their lives were filled with street activities, and the story begins in the spring of 2019 when the 9 Ways and 8 Trey factions officially joined forces. This alliance created a formidable and potentially dangerous group. However, it's important to note that it wasn't necessarily a gathering of the wisest individuals. In March of 2019, Sheff G made a pivotal move by creating a group chat that included all members from the 8 Trey and 9 Ways factions. This wasn't your typical messaging platform like phones or WhatsApp. It was conducted through everyone's personal iMessage. To make things even more complicated, the group chat became a platform for discussing detailed plans regarding when and where they would confront their rivals. Then, on the morning of May 24, 2019, Sheff G posted on Facebook stating, "For gang," allegedly encouraging members to take action. Later that night, this encouragement would result in action. At 10 p.m., a Nine Ways member named Shamari Hudson ventured into the territory of the Folk Nation 50s. After surveying their blocks, he eventually spotted a member on Clarkson Avenue and decided to make his move. Fortunately, the man emerged unscathed from the encounter. However, for some reason, Shamari seemed to believe otherwise. Only 30 minutes after this incident, he sent a text in the group chat stating, "I just made hot in the 50s." This text marked a significant turning point in their unfolding story. An hour after the initial incident, members from the HRA and Nine Ways group responded, expressing their dissatisfaction with Shamari's actions, claiming that he hadn't done a sufficient job. In an attempt to prove his worth, Shamari decided to make another attempt. 2 days later, on March 26, 2019, he returned to the 50s territory. However, this time his efforts seemed to be in vain, as he only encountered plywood. Perhaps realizing the futility of his actions, he chose not to inform the group chat. Over the following year, there appeared to be a lull in significant events, with the exception of several diss tracks and multiple social media posts. A member of Nine Ways named Mark Wright posted on Facebook stating, "Free all my ops, and when they get home, they get popped too." Similarly, an 8 Trey member named RJ Flossie made a post insinuating that when he engaged with rival members, he better return safely. This reference was directed toward the Vanderveer Estates, a Folk Nation project. However, on August 6, 2020, RJ Flossie decided to follow through on his promise. He drove to the Folk Nation area in a rented Mercedes C300, passing through the infamous Vanderveer Estates where rival members were typically present. Along Foster Avenue, he spotted 5 rival members outside. Thankfully, no one was injured, and the shots hit nothing but plywood. However, RJ Flossie seemed to perceive the outcome differently. Later that night, he alerted the group chat to check the Citizen app. Upon learning that no one had been injured, Sheff G was displeased. Despite Sheff G's success in the music industry, his connection to the streets of Brooklyn remained strong. He felt unsatisfied with the actions of his squad. Consequently, in September 2020, he decided to assist all of his members by establishing contact with 83 Crip Set. After numerous attempts, the Sheff G squad would take out a rapper who was their opposition, Sniper Blicky. Sheff G would go on to instigate a number of attempts on the lives of his opposition, acting as the leader behind the gang. Eventually, he would end up behind bars, and that was the only thing that prevented him from causing even more havoc in the streets. However, simultaneously, Sheff G, alongside Sleepy Hollow, was catching traction in the music industry, and his music was blowing up more than anyone expected. Something had to be done if the two were to make it in the drill rap world. The synergy between Sleepy and Sheff was electric, and a friend's encouragement prompted them to stay focused on their rap careers, setting the stage for what would come next. Sleepy Hollow and Sheff shared a deep connection, living through the same struggles and facing the heat of the streets together. Their bond was authentic, and they harnessed that authenticity to tell their stories through their music. They were navigating the gritty and aggressive world, going after their rivals. You could clearly hear the influence of their street experiences in Sleepy Hollow's lyrics, especially in tracks like Disrespect. Back then, they were at the early stages of their music careers, and not many people knew that they were grinding relentlessly. Between 2017 and 2018, they faced significant challenges and obstacles. Sleepy Hollow hit a low point in his life, and they were both struggling to make ends meet. At times, they found themselves in such dire straits that they had to resort to sleeping in a car.
The lowest I felt like I was at was probably like 2017 going to 2018. We wasn't going nowhere. We was just outside every day, sleeping in the car. We was just determined to like do something, feel me? Like be something. Go to the hood, trap, do what you gotta do. But we was always end the night going to the studio.
However, despite the hardships, they shared a common dream of achieving something greater in life. They spent their nights working tirelessly in the studio, determined to turn their passion for music into something meaningful. Sleepy and Sheff's friendship was unwavering. They stood by each other's side, never leaving one another behind, even during the toughest times. However, what added to the complexity of their situation was the fact that neither one could completely distance himself from the streets, and Sheff wasn't the only one roaming the streets, searching for ops. Sleepy Hollow also earned a reputation as a fearless individual who would confront rivals if they dared to challenge him online. The rivals often resorted to evasive tactics and used their associates, including younger individuals, as shields to avoid direct confrontations.
Oh shit, man! Yo, niggas, oh shit, man! I've been humble for too long. They just throw throwing bitches in front of them niggas.
Yeah, you
Oh,
throwing
bro,
bitches in
stop
front
it,
of them.
bro. Stop it. You throwing bitches in.
all
Come
guys.
on, bro.
It's really
Niggas-
all guys.
Come on, bro.
It's really all guys. I'm trying.
Niggas throwing bitches in front of them, trying to get low.
Niggas all guys. It's really all guys.
Come on, bro.
Sleepy Hollow was known for his humility, but beneath that calm demeanor was a readiness to take drastic actions if provoked. He had a reputation for being willing to engage in violent confrontations when others challenged him. Sleepy didn't hold back. He proudly disrespected his rivals and stood firmly behind his actions. In February 2017, an incident allegedly occurred that exemplified Sleepy Hollow's willingness to stand his ground. It was a day when their rivals pulled up in a vehicle, got out, and opened fire. Fortunately, Sleepy Hollow was wounded but survived the attack. However, the tragic outcome was that a 15-year-old named Rohan Levy was fatally shot in the head during the incident, while his friend was also injured but managed to survive. The incident serves as a stark reminder of the real-life consequences that can stem from the street life Sleepy Hollow was a part of. A gang member has been handed a lengthy prison sentence for a tragic incident that unfolded almost 6 years ago in Brooklyn. Zayden Clark, a 23-year-old from Flatbush, received a 20-year prison term for first-degree manslaughter and an indeterminate sentence of 7 to 21 years for conspiracy to commit murder. This sentencing relates to the heartbreaking shooting of teenager Rohan Levy in February 2017, as revealed by Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez.
After her 15-year-old son was killed by a bullet intended for someone else in 2017.
The conviction of Clark, which took place on November 21st, encompassed several charges, including first-degree manslaughter, conspiracy to commit murder, first-degree attempted assault, fourth-degree conspiracy, second-degree criminal possession of a weapon, criminal use of a firearm, and first-degree reckless endangerment. According to Gonzalez, supported by evidence presented in court, the tragic incident unfolded on February 20th, 2017, at approximately 2:20 p.m. It occurred on 55th Street near Lenox Road in East Flatbush. Clark, identified as a member of the SRK subset of the Folk Nation gang, was actively seeking rival gang members to target. It was during this search that he encountered Rohan Levy and 3 of Levy's friends in East Flatbush. At the time, Levy, a student at Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design, was simply heading home after a game of basketball. According to the presented evidence, Clark exited the passenger seat of a Honda Accord and discharged 5 shots from a .380 caliber handgun. Tragically, one of these bullets struck Levy in the back of the head, while another teen, aged 18, was wounded in the leg. Despite efforts, Levy succumbed to his injuries 3 days later at Kings County Hospital. During the period in question, Sleepy Hollow would have been around 17 to 18 years old. It's intriguing to consider whether the person who sustained the leg injury might have actually been Sleepy Hollow himself. Sleepy may have chosen to tell the police that they had mistaken his friend for him. It's worth noting that at that time, Sleepy Hollow had not yet gained significant recognition in the music industry, making it less likely for the police to identify him immediately. However, what adds an interesting twist to this narrative is that Sleepy Hollow later confirmed in his viral 2019 track Flows, created in collaboration with Sheff G, that he had indeed been shot. In a breakdown of the lyrics on Genius, Sleepy Hollow shed light on this part of his life and experiences. This revelation offers a glimpse into the personal stories and emotions that often find their way into an artist's music, helping listeners connect on a deeper level with the artist's journey and authenticity.
I'm stuck in my bad ways. I got shot. I ain't been just manned up. Most niggas just go through shit like that and it's just, they go living a whole nother life, you know? Still the same.
Sleepy Hollow faced a challenging situation when he was hit, but he remained resilient, standing firm despite the adversities. However, he realized that something needed to change because living with constant danger wasn't a sustainable way of life. His goal was to escape the perils of the neighborhood and secure a better future for himself. It was during this time that Sleepy Hollow and Sheff were steadily building a buzz in the music scene, catching the attention of a former NFL player, Junior Gillette. Junior Gillette, who owned the record label Nula Entertainment, saw an opportunity and signed Sleepy Hollow and Sheff to the label for a 1-year period. However, they eventually decided to pursue their own path. While their drill sound had initially thrust them into the spotlight, Sleepy Hollow and Sheff didn't want to be confined to the label of just drill artists. They aimed to create good music with a global appeal. Sleepy Hollow in particular began experimenting with a different vibe, shifting away from the gritty drill sound to embrace a more melodic and smooth style. This transition allowed him to maintain the authenticity of his street experiences while exploring the international sound he had always aspired to create. Tracks like 2055 inches exemplified this trendy and evolving musical direction. Amid their growing success, there was a mysterious episode where Sleepy Hollow found himself in the hospital for surgery. Details surrounding the nature of the surgery remain unclear, but it didn't appear to be a life-threatening situation. In a lighthearted manner, Sleepy Hollow went live after waking up from the anesthesia, showcasing his humorous side and leaving viewers entertained as he embraced the post-surgery haze with humor and wit. Sleepy Hollow was experiencing a newfound sense of enjoyment in life. With Sleepy and Sheff discovering their global musical voice, they decided to take their journey to the next level by signing a deal with Eli Frost, a partner with the industry giant RCA Records, to establish their own label, Winner's Circle Entertainment. This move allowed Sleepy and Sheff to step into the roles of bosses, distinguishing themselves from other rappers who were signing traditional record deals. By signing to their own label, they could maximize their profits and have greater control over their creative endeavors. Sleepy Hollow and Sheff were thriving, amassing wealth and flaunting their success as they rolled up to the scene with their team, making new business ventures and accumulating cash. Their dreams were materializing, but they were far from finished with their journey of growth. They made the significant decision to purchase their own studio, with plans to equip it with various rooms and transform it into their official recording headquarters. Their ambitions extended beyond just their music. They aimed to elevate their labels to the big leagues. However, on their way to the top, they encountered some unfortunate setbacks. Sheff G found himself in legal trouble, facing a 2-year sentence after pleading guilty to criminal possession of a weapon in November 2021. Despite the challenges they faced, Sleepy Hollow and Sheff remained determined to continue their ascent in the music industry and achieve their goals. Sleepy Hollow found himself facing the challenge of holding things down without his best friend. As the saying goes, when it rains, it pours. And this was particularly true for Sleepy Hollow during this period. In June 2022, not long after shooting the music video for his track with Fredo Bang titled No Love, Sleepy Hollow shared an Instagram story with a message that said, "Free me."
Well, we talked. I wouldn't say it's like no tight relationship, like you know what I'm saying. We cool people. When I went out there and shot a video, he gave me solid vibes, so you know what I'm saying. I think he locked up right now too, free Sleepy.
This IG post garnered attention, and his label partner, Eli Frost, echoed the sentiment by publicly expressing, "Free the guys." It became evident that Sleepy Hollow had been picked up by law enforcement, although the details surrounding his arrest were initially unclear. Subsequently, online information emerged, shedding light on the possible reasons for his arrest. A video circulated showing Sleepy Hollow in a restaurant engaged in a heated altercation with his entourage and employees, involving the throwing of chairs and more. A tweet from someone who appeared to be a friend of one of the individuals allegedly involved in the incident shared text messages describing the events. According to these messages, Sleepy and his crew had arrived at the restaurant and demanded their meals to be served quickly, given their financial standing. It was also stated that the police arrived and arrested Sleepy. Court documents eventually revealed that he had been taken into custody on June 2, 2022. These documents also disclosed that Sleepy had been found guilty on February 1, 2022, for criminal possession of a weapon, and his release date was set for February 13, 2023. Fortunately, he was indeed released around that time. In the often tumultuous world of Brooklyn street culture, the stories of Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G have certainly left a profound impact. As we conclude this journey through their lives, it's important to reflect on the opportunities that lie ahead. While these two artists have gained notoriety and success, their involvement in the gang life has come with its fair share of risks and setbacks. Their musical talents have the power to transcend boundaries and reach the hearts of people around the world. It's a chance for them to channel their energy, experiences, and creativity into something positive and uplifting. Their music. The streets may have provided a backdrop for their journey, but the world of music can offer them a brighter future. By embracing this path and leaving behind the dangerous and unpredictable life of gangs, Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G have an opportunity to inspire, entertain, and connect with a global audience. It's a chance to transform their lives and the lives of those who follow their music. Let us hope that as these two artists continue to evolve, they will choose the path of music, unity, and creativity, ultimately leaving the past behind and embracing the positive potential that the world has to offer. The story of Sleepy Hollow and Sheff G is far from over, and the chapters that follow can be ones of redemption, growth, and lasting impact.